everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 70746, Chondricopter Attack from the LEGO Ninjago Tournament of Elements wave. This set contains 311 pieces, 3 minifigures, and originally retailed for $29.99 in the US when it first released back in 2015. This video is of course a part of my Ninjago throwback review series, so let me know in the comments which set you want to see a throwback review on next. It can be any set from 2011 to 2018, and while I don't have them all, I do have a lot of them, so let me know in the comments which one you want to see next. If you want to see which throwback reviews I've already done, there'll be a full playlist link in the description below. But now let's get on to this review. So I actually have a very interesting story with this set. This set is the best LEGO deal I've ever gotten. Back when I was a kid, I didn't collect nearly as much LEGO as I do now just because I didn't have the money for it. Like, yeah, I did have a lot of LEGO, but I wasn't getting full waves like I am nowadays. And Tournament of Elements, while it was one of my favorite seasons of the show, unfortunately I wasn't able to get too many of the sets. However, I found this set on shelves in Target in like late 2016 or early 2017, so it was retired by that point. So I checked the price and they had it for like $3, so I got this entire thing for only $3. So that's the only reason I have this set, but I'm actually really glad I found it because I think it's super cool. So let's take a look at it up a little bit closer. This set is of course a villain vehicle, which is something we don't get all too often nowadays. And the color scheme used here is very interesting. We have this somewhat serpent-like design for the front of the vehicle. Of course, we got snake vehicles back in 2012, and this is a different approach, but I like how both this one and those still look like snakes while still having their own identity. I really like the use of this textured rock piece, and the way it sort of covers up these stickered pieces. Those stickered pieces are meant to represent like the snake's eyes, so that rock piece above it sort of serves as eyelids, and that's a very effective and unique look. There's a better look at those eye stickers though with that piece removed. We've also got some fangs at the front, and a skeleton torso up here with a spike coming out. That's another very fun part that they use. I like how they use the skeleton torso that has the loose arms, so that way the empty spots without the arms are a little bit smaller. You can see there's lots of bones all throughout, sort of like a ribcage design down here, obviously one of the longer bone pieces up here, and then here's the seating area to put the minifigures, and you can see even the handlebars for the helicopter are bone themed. There's a second seat on the other side as well, which is exactly identical except instead of handlebars it has a big button. So I'd assume this is the seat for Chen and the other one is the seat for Izor. And then we come to these like sort of wings out the side, which are super bizarre. They're connected on using these rigid Technic joints, so there's a pretty big range of articulation there. It's almost like it's a mech, however it's not. It's a helicopter. It's cool for posability, don't get me wrong. It's just not something I see all too often in LEGO. But yeah, you can change up the shape of this helicopter by like raising those up or lowering them down. I love the use of purple right here, really cool like stickered piece to represent the Anachondri scales. And then on the very front, of course, you got some fangs, a little propeller. This part could also be rotated, I guess, if you want to change the direction this is flying. And there's a nice little angle at the back, though that is also able to be articulated. Don't think that one's like meant to be a play feature, I think it's loose so it does articulate. But the connection is strong enough that it's probably not going to get knocked out of place accidentally unless you really hit it hard. And it's not too bad to fix. And yeah, of course, everything's exactly the same on the other side, just mirrored. Back down the center, you have another long stickered piece. Here you have like these golden metal scales, but you still have those little touches of purple. I really like how the Anachondri cultists both have their own color scheme and also represent the Anachondri color scheme, because of course the Anachondri are purple and black with touches of gold. So I like that that's here, but they still make dark tan their main color to show that no, this isn't an Anachondri vehicle, this is an Anachondri cultist vehicle. And then we get to the very back, the tail of the vehicle. Another one of those ribcage pieces, though now with one of these larger spikes coming out. A few more of those tooth pieces. And then we have yet another propeller. This, as you can see, can also be rotated, so it's a total of 3 propellers in the vehicle. Again, I guess, so you can imagine like changing the direction of the vehicle. It's of course able to spin as well. And while the spike at the back does sort of get in the way sometimes, you can of course always move that up and out of the way. And then finally we have the play feature on this build. This like little button out the back. You can see it's connected on this long Technic axle, and if you push it in, there's actually a net that'll shoot out the front. I know the lighting isn't great, but hopefully you can see how the play feature works with the net removed. It just pushes this little part out, which pushes the net. And yeah, this is just the classic LEGO net piece. Not sure if this is used in modern times, I can't think of the last set that came with one of these, but the idea is that the vehicle shoots at its enemy, and it can sort of knock them over and trap them in the net. I always found these play features fun as a kid, so I'm happy to see it's included here. And if you want to reload it, you can literally just stuff the net in, just all over the place however you want, though it might go in a little bit nicer if you fold it first. But yeah, you can see even though I just stuffed it in, that's the net reloaded, and I can just shoot it right back out, like this. Okay, I missed. Yeah, definitely a super fun play feature. While it does kind of take up the entire build, I honestly don't mind. I don't think it takes away from anything. Overall, I quite like how this turned out. Oh, and actually, one more thing I almost forgot to mention. In the wings, those little flick missiles, you push in on them or flick them, they shoot out. Another classic LEGO play feature, which is always nice to see included. But overall, I really like this build, and I'll talk about that more at the end of this video. For now, let's move on to the one side build in the set, and then the minifigures, and then I will give you my overall thoughts. So here's the one and only side build in the set, this little flyer for Skylar. Both Kaya and Skylar rode around on these in the show, so it's cool to see a little side build like this is actually canon, and I actually think it's pretty fun. That's a pretty unique shape for the size. I like the swords coming out, which can use as like extra accessories for Skylar, and the fire out the back is a nice touch. Yeah, not a ton of pieces, but I think it's fun, and there's how Skylar looks actually riding on it. And actually, while we're at it, here's how Chen and Izor look actually in the Kandrai Copter. Yeah, they fit in well, plenty of room for both of them, even when holding their accessories. I think it looks great. But now let's actually take a look at the minifigures in the set themselves, starting with Izor and Master Chen. Now, if you bought any of the Ninjago Legacy sets back in 2021, I'm sure you are very familiar with Izor and might even be pretty tired of him. However, despite being super common in the Legacy sets, this was actually the only original Tournament of Elements set that Izor came in. This figure was exclusive to this set, so while the Legacy version is super common, this guy felt very unique and special. And yeah, I have to say, I love this figure. Very different from all the other Anakandrai cultists with like the biker jacket that he has on, but I think it's a super cool touch. He's of course just got the one eye on his face, and like the very angry scowl with the sort of snake fangs. I always loved the red makeup that the Anakandrai cultists had around their eyes. And the mohawk piece is another one that, like, while it's pretty common nowadays, was very uncommon back in the day. So that was always a very fun one to get. That snake design looks great on the back of the jacket. And his leg piece, I believe, is exclusive, though it's very similar to the other Anakandrai cultists. Just the purple and the dark red, though I do think that's a great color scheme. My only issue with this guy is the printing on the torso is a little bit too light, so the yellow on his torso doesn't exactly match the yellow in his arms and his face. And while that's something that's pretty much the case with all modern minifigures, back in 2015 it wasn't uncommon for things to actually be printed well, so the fact that this guy wasn't printed well was pretty disappointing to see. But yeah, especially compared to modern figures, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me anymore just because it's so common, but I do wish it was better. In terms of accessory, he comes with one of the Anakandrai swords, with like the purple blade at the top. These are super cool molded parts, and only came in a few sets. I believe this actually might be the cheapest way to get this one, so that's very cool to see. My one issue with these parts you might be able to see a little bit is it looks chewed up down here. I did not chew on my Lego pieces in 2015. I was, what, 13 years old at that point? I think I was a little bit past chewing on my Lego pieces. But yeah, that's definitely pretty beat up, and that's because it has a more rubbery handle, so if you're trying to put it into a minifigure hand, sometimes a bit of the plastic can come off. There's a few different Lego pieces like that, including modern ones, but yeah, you can definitely see it here on the handle. It does not look good in his hand. The rest of the blade looks fantastic, though. I love, like, the snake skull on the hilt. That's a very unique touch. And then Master Chen. I believe Chen came in a total of 3 sets, 2 of which were Tournament of Elements. So this was the cheapest way to get him, and he was, of course, the main villain of Tournament of Elements, so of course he was a very desirable character to get, and Chen's probably one of my favorite minifigure designs of all time. Again, I do just love the aesthetic of the Anakandrai cultists. All of them I think are fantastic, but Chen is just to the next level. He's of course got like the snake skull helmet like all the other Anakandrai cultists have. However, his is above and beyond. He's actually got a snake draped around it. That's such a cool mold. And then like a ribcage out the back that actually holds the snake. Super great face print design too, again with that red eye makeup, but his expression perfectly captures his personality, and there's so much detail there with all like the wrinkles and cheekbones and the sideburns. He's just such a unique looking character. Does not feel generic in any way. And then the torso and legs feel super elegant. The design definitely presents the idea that like Chen is the leader of the cultists, because while a lot of the others use purple as their main color and dark red as an accent, Chen is mostly dark red with little touches of purple, but then he still has elements that all the other Anakandrai cultists do, such as the little snake fangs at the top. Quite a bit of metallic printing on him too, both metallic gold and metallic silver. And then if we turn him around, take a look at his back torso print, he's got that Anakandrai symbol in that metallic gold. And then in terms of accessory, he just comes with a Wolverine claw, which I always thought those were super cool as a kid, because I never had a Wolverine figure, so whenever that piece came in other sets, I was always very excited to get it. So yeah, I think these two are both fantastic minifigures, and great inclusions in a $30 set. One's exclusive, and one this is the cheapest way to get, and he is the main villain of the wave. So in terms of minifigures, they're off to a great start. But then for the third minifigure in the set, we have yet another exclusive figure, and another really desirable one. We have Skylar. Now Skylar's another one that's been re-released a few times, of course, in a different suit every time, but at the time of the set's release, this was the first appearance of Skylar, and she was exclusive to this set for like the next 2 years. This was also around the time when LEGO first started introducing like more side characters into the sets, because before this minifigure, pretty much every minifigure in Ninjago sets was either one of the main 6 ninja, Wu, Garmadon, or one of the villain figures from the wave. But this Skylar was a new hero figure that was none of those. I believe the only other figure like that before this was Pixel. So she was super cool to see, and of course she introduces a lot of new things. The Ninja Hood in Bright Orange was all new for this set, and I don't think it was ever re-released. And Bright Orange is just a super cool color for her entire outfit. I know she uses dark red too nowadays, which does look good, but taking a look back at this, just the full Bright Orange does look really neat. She's also got like this lighter yellow on her belt, and like the brown knee pads that all the ninja suits have this wave. However, I feel like they fit her color scheme a lot better than some of the others. She of course comes with a crossbow as her accessory, and then a quiver around the back. And then if we remove her mask, we could take a look at her face print, and you can see it pretty much feels straight out of the show. She's got the big eyebrows, the confident smile. Yeah, I don't think they could have captured that any better. But then turning her around, she does have an alternate face, which again is another thing that wasn't that common for Ninjago back then. However, this alternate face is very interesting because it's not canon to the show at all. I guess when the set was designed, the animators couldn't find a place for this in the show, but you can see she's got like a little orange mask on, she's like screaming. That is a very unique look. I think especially with the mask on, that looks incredibly cool. A shame we never got to see it in the show, but it's a fun alternate option on the minifigure. So yeah, really glad they included such an important figure in such a cheap set, and not only was she a cool character to get, but I also think she is a fantastically designed one. I really love this minifigure. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? I think this set is fantastic, honestly. The build I like. I will admit it's nothing all too special, like I think it's incredibly well done for what it is, but at the end of the day, you're not missing too much if you don't have this build. However, what really secures this set as a fantastic set for me is those minifigures. 3 total minifigures, 2 of which are exclusive and 1 of which is the main villain of the wave, and this is the cheapest way to get him for only $30. Yeah, that's really great. You get a Ninjago side character for one of the first times ever, and all 3 of the figures in this set are some of the best figures of the wave. And yeah, are you missing too much for the build if you don't get this set? No, probably not. But are you going to be disappointed if you do? No, I don't think so. I genuinely think this build is pretty good, especially for kids. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm always happy whenever we get villain vehicles. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to check out my full throwback reviews playlist, and let me know in the comments which throwback review you guys want to see next. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!